Hello ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, my name is Trent Sterling and I am a game developer who uses Unity 3D to make little indie game prototype things. Over the past week or two, I've been streaming development on a multiplayer, photon-enabled, it was originally a UNet multiplayer twin-stick shooter game, and now it is powered by Photon because, well, UNet just had too many issues with ownership of objects and stuff, so like, the big thing was I wanted tanks to be drivable. The problem with ownership in UNet is that the server pretty much owns everything, and even when you own something, you don't really own it, kind of a thing. And what you often end up doing is sending a lot of information to the server, and then the server sends it to everyone else. And technically that's what happens in Photon too. Photon masks it. It has this, you know, it kind of abstracts all that away and makes a really, like, easy API to use, so that you can say, hey, I want this client to own this game object, and then suddenly he has control of all the properties, parameters, position, velocity, all that stuff is owned by the client. And while that does open the door to cheating and stuff like that, in a cooperative game, it's not such a big deal. And you generally want to own the objects that you drive or want to own, otherwise you're going to have to deal with lag, waiting for the server to verify and confirm and go ahead and give you permission to move. Like, how much would it suck to try shooting a gun and then waiting for the server to tell you that yes, you have enough ammo and you are allowed to shoot the gun, and then you have to wait for the entire round-trip communication to actually see the gun be fired on screen. That would completely suck. So being able to easily own objects is a big reason why I switched to Photon, and not just own objects, but change ownership. There are several ways. So, like, say you have a vehicle and someone else wants to steal the vehicle. There are callbacks to handle that kind of thing, and you can say, okay, maybe this guy is on my team, or maybe this guy's not on my team. You know, maybe, you know, pretty much you can handle all of it with Photon. In UNet, sure, you could probably do the same thing, but it means you're writing the system that Photon already presents to you. And I'm sure in the future UNet will have something better, because they're making patches constantly, but it's just so not there, and I wanted to have this game done yesterday, kind of a thing. This was supposed to be a very quick multiplayer shooter prototype thing. That being said, I'm probably going to change the enemies to zombies. I went ahead and got a zombie pack, and we're switching to a city instead of this little sandy, I guess, Middle Eastern area. I think I'd be a lot more comfortable shooting zombies and, you know, being in a city and stuff. You know, it's kind of more of an interesting locale. So besides that, the other game that I put some work into this week was Vicer, which is a game that's originally done in Construct 2 by 2D GameDev. And 2D GameDev does all the art and all the programming in Construct 2, and I was like, you know, maybe we can port this to Unity, get a little bit better performance, get more export platforms, and maybe I can take some of the programming load off of him, because then he can spend more time doing the art. And the results have been very, very mixed. So anyone who's done a platformer in Unity will tell you you have to use raycasting. Using a rigid body is pretty much like really difficult, kind of a waste of time. You'll never get it to work right. Like, there's a lot of things where the player has to stick to the platform. Like, say the player dashes downstairs. In a normal, if you were using a rigid body and he didn't have some kind of floor sticking mechanic, you would dash to the left on some stairs and you would just kind of fly off the stairs. So what I had to do was code a floor sticking mechanic that would change my velocity's direction according to the slope that you were standing on. So if I were to dash downstairs, it would actually pull my rigid body in a downwards direction and follow the slope of pretty much everything. So some kind of slope following formula. And I've checked out multiple raycasting solutions, and they pretty much all have this out of the box. But getting it to work with the rigid body was kind of a pain. Eventually I did get it working pretty well. So, but I mean, honestly, it's kind of hard to tell if I should actually continue to be involved in the Vicer project because the way 2D Game Dev works, he works very rapidly, and I mean, I'm actually kind of surprised that Construct 2 can prototype so fast. I mean, Unity is known for being super fast prototypes, and then what he can do in Construct in one night is kind of blowing away what I could probably do in Unity. But again, I mean, there's some issues with Construct and how it structures things, and I mean, it falls apart with large projects. And the same thing can be said for Unity, but I think Unity has a much better chance of handling a large project than Construct ever would. So it's really, I mean, we'll see what happens. I'll continue to work on this port a little bit, but there's no telling if this port is going to be the official version that Vicer becomes. Vicer already has a lot of content generated, and a large issue with importing the art from Construct is that I get these atlases with a name but no other information. So I have to slice them in Unity, I have to name each animation frame in Unity, and then another issue is Mechanim. 2D Game Dev has an NPC generator that basically makes a billion different combinations of different heads, legs, torsos, and the NPCs can be completely randomized. And getting the animations to work in Mechanim with randomized body parts just sounds like the most tremendous headache that I could ever give myself. So there are going to be some things that I don't think I can, for the most part, anything that 2D Game Dev could throw at me, I could figure out in one night. But that's one of those things that, wow, that might take longer than a night to figure out, kind of a thing. So, and maybe it would be easier than, maybe I'm kind of like blowing it up. Maybe it's actually easier than that. But I really can't imagine a really simple way to do this. So we'll see what happens. Until I have a little bit more official news on Vicer, I'm actually going to be going back to the Buttloads digging game and this multiplayer shooter. Now that I've got these zombies, I have so much work to do to put these zombies in and change their skin, and I got these cool fire effects for the city, so the city's going to be all torn up and on fire, and there's going to be a military presence, because obviously when zombies take over, the military tries to defend our cities. But, and I can spend a lot of time on just generating or creating these levels, like laying them out. It takes quite some time. I'm actually a little annoyed at how laying things out in Unity feels super slow to me. Like, even with some kind of grid snapping and stuff like that, it's super slow to lay out even just a simple street. Now these street pieces are not the most basic, like, they're not the easiest street pieces to put together. They're actually really small segments of street, so it takes about like 30 segments to make a short block of street. But, we'll see. That's pretty much all I have to talk about this. Thank you for watching, and I will try to continue to keep creating these little updates to keep you up to date on what I've been streaming and what I've been doing. So thank you for watching.